Ninth class Biology English book, Chapter 2, Solving a Biological Problem. Complete exercise notes including MCQs, short questions and long questions. Chapter 2, Solving a Biological Problem. MCQs. Number 1. Which one of the following is a correct sequence in biological method? A. Observations, hypothesis, law, theory. B. Hypothesis, observations, deduction, experimentation. C. Observations, hypothesis, deduction, experimentation. D. Law, theory, deduction, observations. The correct option is C. Observations, hypothesis, deduction, experimentation. Number 2. Which one of these is not a characteristic of a hypothesis? A. Must be consistent with all available data. B. Must be testable. C. Must be correct. D. Must make predictions. Correct option is C. Must be correct. Number 3. At which point is a biologist most likely to use reasoning? A. While taking observations. B. During hypothesis formation. C. During data organization. D. None of the above. Correct option is B. During hypothesis formation. Number 4. A hypothesis must be testable to be scientifically valid. Being testable means that A. Some hypothesis could prove the hypothesis incorrect. B. Only a controlled experiment can indicate whether the hypothesis is correct or incorrect. C. The hypothesis is proven wrong. D. The opposite of hypothesis is tested and proven wrong. Correct option is A. Some hypothesis could prove the hypothesis incorrect. Number 5. What would be the best experimental design for testing hypothesis that bean plants require sodium? A. Measure the amount of sodium in a few bean plants. B. Grow bean plants with and without sodium. C. Look for sodium in leaf tissues. D. Analyze root contents for sodium. Correct option is B. Grow bean plants with and without sodium. Number 6. A gardener sees a large snake nearby. He knows that generally snakes sting. So the gardener ran away. The gardener did which of the following? A. Used reasoning. B. Used observation. C. Constructed a theory. D. Tested a hypothesis. Correct option is A. Used reasoning. Number 7. A scientific theory has which of the following properties? A. It agrees with available evidence. B. It cannot be rejected. C. It has been absolutely proven. D. It does not need to be altered in the light of new evidence. Correct option is B. It cannot be rejected. Number 8. Experimentation is only a step of the scientific process, but it is very important because it always A. Gives the biologists a correct result. B. Allows rejection of some alternative hypothesis. C. Ensures that hypothesis can be confirmed with certainty. D. Gives scientists a chance to work in the laboratory. Correct option is B. Allows rejection of some alternative hypothesis. Number 9. You are testing a hypothesis. Students learn more if they drink tea before sitting for study. Your 20 experimental students drink tea before study. You test their learning by giving questions. Your 20 students of the control group should have all experimental conditions identical to the experimental group except that A. They should take tea with more milk and sugar. B. They should take tea before as well as during study. C. They should not take tea before study. D. After taking tea, they should not sit for study. The correct option is they should not take tea before study. Short questions. Question number 1. Differentiate between theory and law. Answer. Difference between theory and law. Difference number 1 is the hypotheses that stand the test of time, often tested and never rejected, are called theories. If a theory survives doubtful approach and continue to be supported by experimental evidence, it becomes a law. Number 2. Examples of theories are cell theory and Darwin's theory of evolution. Examples of laws are Hardy-Weinberg law and Mendel's laws of inheritance. Number 3. Theory explains how nature works. Law explains what is nature doing under certain conditions. Number 4. The authenticity of theory depends on the amount of evidence that supports the theory. A law is an established, universally observable solid fact. No further evidences are required to make it more authentic. Question number 2. Quantitative observations are better in biological method. How? Answer. Quantitative observations are considered more accurate than qualitative ones because the former are invariable and measurable and can be recorded in terms of numbers. Examples of quantitative observations are number 1. The freezing point of water is 0 degree centigrade and the boiling point is 100 degree centigrade. Number 2. A liter of water weighs 1000 grams and a liter of ethanol weighs 789 grams. Long questions. Question number 1. Describe the steps involved in biological method taking malaria as an example. Answer. In solving a biological problem, biologist takes following steps. Number 1. Recognition of biological problem. Number 2. Observations. Number 3. Hypothesis formulation. Number 4. Deduction. Number 5. Experimentation. Number 6. Summarization of results. Number 7. Reporting the results. We will go through the history of malaria to know how biology solved the biological problem concerning the cause and transmission of malaria. Step number 1. Recognition of the biological problem. In ancient times, physicians were familiar with malaria. They described it as a disease of chills and fevers with recurring attacks. Step number 2. Observations about malaria. They observed that the disease was more common among people living in low marshy areas. They thought that the stagnant water of marshes poisoned the air, and as a result of breathing in this bad air, people got malaria. This belief led to the name of this disease. The Italian words mala means bad and aria means air. Some volunteers drank stagnant water from the marshes. They did not develop malaria. In the 17th century, many plants from America were sent back to Europe to be used as medicines. The bark of a tree known as quina was very suitable for curing fevers. Some dishonest merchants began to substitute the bark of another tree, cinchona, which closely resembled quina. The dishonesty proved much valuable for mankind. Cinchona bark was found to be excellent for treating malaria. In 1878, a French army physician, Laveran, took a small amount of blood from a malarial patient and examined it under microscope. He noticed some tiny living creatures named as Plasmodium. By that time, there were 4 major observations about malaria. Number 1. Malaria and marshy areas have some relation. Number 2. Quinine is an effective drug for treating malaria. Number 3. Drinking of water of marshes does not cause malaria. Number 4. Plasmodium is seen in the blood of malarial patients. Step number 3. Hypothesis. The hypothesis made regarding malaria was Plasmodium is the cause of malaria. Step number 4. Deductions. Following deduction was drawn from the above hypothesis. If Plasmodium is the cause of malaria, then all persons ill with malaria should have Plasmodium in their blood. Step number 5. Experimentation. The next step was to test the deduction through experiments which were designed as Part A. Blood of 100 malarial patients was examined under microscope. Part B. For having a control group, the blood of 100 healthy persons was also examined under microscope. Step number 6. Results. The results of experiments showed that almost all malarial patients had Plasmodium in their blood, while 7 out of 100 healthy persons also had Plasmodium in their blood during incubation period. The results proved that the hypothesis was true. Question number 2. If a test shows that some people have Plasmodium in their blood but they do not show any symptoms of malaria, what hypothesis would you formulate to answer this problem? Answer. Hypothesis. If a test shows that some people have Plasmodium in their blood but they do not show any symptoms of malaria, the hypothesis might be the Plasmodium is present in them in incubation period. Question number 3. How the principles of ratio and proportion are used in biological method? Answer. Principles of ratio and proportion. Data analysis is necessary to prove or disprove a hypothesis by experimentation. It is done through the application of statistical methods, that is, ratio and proportion. Ratio. When a relation between two numbers, for example A and B, is expressed in terms of quotient, it is called the ratio of one number to the other. Ratio may be expressed by putting a division mark or colon mark between the two numbers. For example, the ratio between 50 malarial patients and 150 normal persons is 1:3. Proportion. Proportion means to join two equal ratios by the sign of equality. For example, A:B is equals to C:D is a proportion between the two ratios. This proportion may also be expressed as A:B:C:D. When three values in a proportion are known, the fourth one can be calculated. For example, a biologist can calculate how many birds will get malaria when he allows infected mosquitoes to bite 100 healthy sparrows. In this experiment, he noted that when he allowed mosquitoes to bite 20 sparrows, 14 out of them got malaria. Now he uses the proportion rule. By applying the proportion rule, we get the fourth value x is equals to 70. It means 70 out of 100 sparrows get malaria. Question number 4. Justify mathematics as an integral part of the scientific process. Answer. Mathematics as an integral part of scientific process. Biological method also involves the use of applied mathematics to solve biological problems. Major biological problems in which knowledge of mathematics is used include gene finding, protein structure, and protein-protein interactions, etc. Bioinformatics refers to the computational and statistical techniques for the analysis of biological data.
Please like, subscribe.